My name does not matter right now. What matters is this. Everything I believed about my family broke in one single moment. Before I tell you how, let me ask you something. Have you ever been sitting in a room full of people who love you, and suddenly realized they were all hiding something from you? That was me. But before we go any further, let me pause for a second. If you enjoy emotional, powerful stories about family secrets, betrayal, and unexpected strength, please subscribe to this channel. Like this video, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I want to know which part of the world you are joining me from today. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you still makes my hands shake. I was standing in my sister's living room when I heard my name whispered. Not spoken. Whispered. I had just walked in quietly, my bag still on my shoulder. They didn't know I was there yet. And then I heard it. She still doesn't know, someone said. Another voice answered, soft but cold. She can never find out. If she does, everything will fall apart. My heart dropped. They were talking about me. I stood frozen near the door, my breath stuck in my chest. My own family, people I trusted with my life, were hiding a secret from me. A secret so big. They were afraid of what I would do if I found out. I leaned closer, my ears burning. Then I heard the words that changed everything. If she finds the papers, we're finished. Papers. What papers? My hands started to shake. My mind was racing. I felt like the floor was moving under my feet. I wanted to scream. I wanted to walk in and demand answers. But I didn't. Instead, I stayed silent. Because in that moment, I made a decision. If my family was hiding a secret from me, I would uncover it myself. And when I did, I would make sure they regretted it. Let me take you back. I grew up believing we were a close family. Not perfect, but loving. We shared meals. We laughed. We fought sometimes, but we always said sorry. At least, that's what I thought. I was the one who always helped. The one who stayed late. The one who gave when others took. When someone needed money, they called me. When someone needed time, I gave it. When someone needed support, I showed up. I never imagined I was the only one being kept in the dark. Looking back now, the signs were there. The sudden silence when I entered a room. The way conversations stopped mid-sentence. The strange looks they gave each other when I asked simple questions. But I trusted them. Why wouldn't I? They were my family. It started with little things. Mail that never reached me. Documents that went missing. Questions that were brushed away with smiles and excuses. One day I asked, did anyone see that letter I was expecting? My brother replied too quickly, no. Are you sure you even sent it? His eyes didn't meet mine. Another time, I asked about a family matter, something that directly involved me. My sister said, let's talk about that later. Later never came. At night, I would lie in bed feeling uneasy. Like something important was slipping through my fingers, and I didn't know why. Still, I told myself I was imagining things. Because trusting your family feels safer than believing they are lying to you. Then came that day. The day I walked into that living room quietly. The day I heard my name whispered like a warning. The day I realized I was not part of the truth. My family didn't see me standing there, holding my breath, listening as they discussed my life like I wasn't even human. She trusts us, one of them said. That hurt the most. Because it was true. I did trust them. And they were using it against me. I walked out without making a sound. I didn't confront them. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I went home and sat alone in the dark. And that's when I decided something that would change everything. I would stop asking questions out loud. I would start finding answers in silence. If there were papers they were hiding, I would find them. If there was a truth they thought I couldn't handle, I would face it. And when the time was right, They would realize the biggest mistake they made was underestimating me. Because what I discovered next was not just a secret. It was something that could destroy our family forever. And once I saw it, there was no turning back. That night, I did not sleep. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of my own breathing. Every whisper I had heard in that living room played again and again in my head. She still doesn't know. If she finds the papers, we're finished. Those words felt heavy, like stones pressing on my chest. By morning, I understood one thing very clearly. My family was not going to tell me the truth, so I would have to take it myself. The next day, I woke up and did something very important. I acted normal. I answered phone calls like nothing was wrong. I replied messages with smiling words. I even laughed when my sister made a joke. Inside, I was burning. But on the outside, I became exactly what they expected. The calm one, the trusting one, the woman who never suspected a thing. That was my shield. Because people reveal the most when they think you are blind. I started with the smallest things. Drawers. Old folders. Boxes no one opened anymore. I told myself I was just cleaning. At first, I found nothing. Just old photos, expired bills, and dusty memories. I almost gave up. Then I remembered something my mother used to say before she passed away. Important things don't sit where people look every day. That sentence stayed with me. So I changed my thinking. If they were hiding something from me, it would not be in plain sight. It would be somewhere they felt safe. 2 days later, I visited my brother. He greeted me with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "You look tired," he said. "I didn't sleep well," I replied. That part was true. We sat in his living room, drinking tea and talking about nothing important. The whole time I watched him. Every time I stood up, his body tensed. Every time I moved toward the hallway, his eyes followed me. He was guarding something. And now I knew for sure. When he stepped outside to take a call, I stood up slowly. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure the walls could hear it. I walked down the hallway like I belonged there. Because I did. At the end of the hallway was a small room. A storage room. I had never seen it locked before. But now it was. That alone told me everything. I touched the door handle. Locked. I stood there, staring at it, my fingers cold. I could hear my brother's voice outside, laughing into his phone. I didn't have much time. I checked his desk drawer. Inside, I found a small key taped underneath with clear tape. My hands shook as I pulled it free. I slid the key into the lock. Click. The door opened. The room smelled like old paper and dust. There were boxes stacked against the wall, all neatly labeled. I opened the first one. Documents. Legal papers. My name. Printed clearly at the top. My knees almost gave out. I flipped through the pages quickly, not understanding everything, but understanding enough to know this was not nothing. These were not old school records. These were not medical files. These were official documents. And they were hidden from me. I took photos of every page with my phone, my heart racing faster with each picture. Then I saw a folder marked with a date. A date that changed my life. It was the year my father died. That year was the hardest year of my life. I had trusted my family completely then. I was grieving. Broken. Lost. They had told me, "Don't worry, we'll handle everything." I believed them. Standing there now, holding proof that they did handle everything, without me, I felt sick. I realized something painful. They did not protect me when I was weak. They used my weakness. Suddenly, I heard footsteps. My brother was coming back inside. I shoved the papers back into the box, locked the door, and slipped the key back into place just as he entered the hallway. "There you are," he said. "I was looking for you." I smiled. "I just needed the bathroom." His eyes searched my face. For a second, I thought he knew. But then he relaxed. And that scared me more than anything. Because it meant he still believed I knew nothing. That night, at home, I looked through the photos on my phone. Each page felt like a slap. Each word felt like a lie. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I whispered one sentence to myself. So this is what you did behind my back. I realized then that this secret was bigger than one person. This involved all of them. And if they thought hiding papers would protect them, they were very wrong. Because buried inside those documents was one detail I could not ignore. One sentence that made my blood run cold. It proved my family did not just hide the truth from me. They made a decision for me that I was never meant to discover. That sentence from the documents would not leave my mind. I read it over and over again until the words blurred together. Authorized by legal representative. That was it. No explanation. No name I recognized. Just that one cold line sitting under decisions that changed my life. My family had not acted alone. Someone else helped them. Someone trained to make things look clean, legal, and final. And that scared me more than the secret itself. That night, I sat at my small kitchen table with my phone, scrolling through the photos I had taken. I didn't understand everything in the documents, but I understood enough to know this was serious. This was not a misunderstanding. This was planning. I wrote down every name I saw. Every stamp. Every signature that looked official. One name appeared again and again. A legal office. I stared at it until my eyes hurt. If my family thought I would never question authority, they were wrong. The next few days, I played my role perfectly. I called my sister and laughed like nothing was wrong. I visited my aunt and listened while she talked about family dinners and memories. All the while, I watched them carefully. Every pause. Every nervous smile. Every time someone changed the subject. They were all connected. And they were all afraid of something. Me. One morning, I got dressed and left my house without telling a single person where I was going. I carried a small folder with printed copies of the documents. My hands were steady, but my heart was not. I stood in front of the building with the legal office name on it. It looked ordinary. That made it worse. Because ordinary places hide the darkest choices. I took a deep breath and walked inside. The man behind the desk looked up when I entered. He was calm. Polite. Too comfortable. "Can I help you?" he asked. I gave him my name. The moment he heard it, something changed. Just for a second. But I saw it. Recognition. Fear. He knew exactly who I was. And that told me everything. "I'm here to understand some documents," I said, placing the folder on his desk. He barely glanced at it before pushing it back toward me. "Those matters were settled a long time ago," he said quickly. "There's nothing to discuss." Settled. Without me. My hands tightened around the folder. "I don't remember settling anything," I said calmly. He sighed, leaning back in his chair. "Your family asked us to handle it," he replied. "They said you didn't want to be involved." That lie cut deep. Because it was carefully chosen. It made me sound weak. Absent. Uninterested in my own life. I leaned forward and looked him straight in the eyes. "Did I sign anything?" I asked. He hesitated. Just a little. But that hesitation was loud. "No," he admitted. Silence filled the room. I smiled then. Not because I was happy, but because I had him. "You trusted them," he said quietly. "They said they were protecting you." Protecting me. That word again. Used like a shield to hide betrayal. What exactly did they protect me from? I asked. He swallowed. Then he spoke words I was never supposed to hear. They protected their control. He explained slowly, like he was afraid someone might overhear. "My family came to him after my father died. They said I was emotional. Unstable. They said I couldn't handle responsibility. So they handled it for me. They made decisions about property, about finances, about rights that belonged to me. All without my consent. All with legal stamps that made it look final. I sat there listening, my chest tight, my ears ringing. Every kind thing they had ever done suddenly felt fake. Before I left, the man said something that chilled me. They will not take this well, he said. If they realize you know the truth, they will try to stop you. I stood up, holding my folder close. They already tried, I replied. He looked at me with something like respect. Or maybe fear. That evening, my phone rang. It was my sister. Her voice sounded sweet. Too sweet. Is everything okay? She asked. Yes, I replied. Why do you ask? A pause. Then she said, you haven't been yourself lately. I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. That's because I'm finally waking up. She went quiet. That night, as I locked my door and sat in the dark, I understood something terrifying. They knew I was getting close. The next morning, I woke up with a strange feeling in my chest. It wasn't fear. It was awareness. The kind that tells you something has already started, even if no one has said it out loud yet. I sat up in bed and checked my phone. 3 missed calls. All from family. That alone told me everything. By mid-morning, the messages began. Just checking on you. We haven't seen you in a while. Family should stay close. The words looked kind, but I could feel the tension behind them. They were not checking on me because they cared. They were checking on me because they were scared. And fear makes people dangerous. I replied slowly, carefully. I'm fine. Just taking time for myself. Nothing to worry about. I needed them to believe I was calm. Because calm people are underestimated. That afternoon, my brother showed up at my door without calling. I opened it with a smile. You didn't have to come, I said. He stepped inside, looking around like he was searching for something. You've been distant, he said. We're worried. Worried. That word again. I gestured for him to sit. I've just been thinking, I replied. His eyes narrowed slightly. Thinking was dangerous to them. We talked about nothing important at first. The weather. Old stories. Family plans. Then his voice changed. You know, he said slowly, some things are better left alone. I looked at him calmly. Like what? He leaned forward. Like old matters. Legal things. Stuff that can reopen wounds. There it was. The first real move. A warning disguised as concern. I stood up and walked to the window. Funny, I said, still looking outside. I always thought truth healed wounds. He didn't answer. The silence was loud. When I turned back, his face was tight. People can get hurt chasing the past, he said. I met his eyes. People already did, I replied. He left shortly after that. And when the door closed behind him, I knew. They knew. That night, I checked the folder where I kept the copies of the documents. My heart dropped. Some pages were gone. I searched everywhere. They were missing. My hands shook. Someone had been in my house. I sat down slowly, forcing myself to breathe. This was no longer just lies and secrets. This was action. The next day, my sister invited me to dinner. Her voice was warm. I miss you, she said. Let's talk like family. I knew it was a trap. But I went anyway. Because sometimes, you have to walk into the fire to understand who is holding the match. The table was full. Smiles. Laughter. Food. Everyone acted normal. Too normal. As we ate, they talked around me, not to me. Then my sister spoke. We've been thinking, she said. Maybe you should let us help manage things again. You've been under stress. There it was. Control. wrapped in kindness. I set my fork down. I'm not a child, I said quietly. The room froze. My aunt spoke next. We just don't want you making mistakes. I laughed. A short, sharp sound. The only mistake, I said, was trusting you. Faces went pale. No one spoke. I stood up. Enjoy dinner, I said. This was the last one. As I reached my car, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. Stop digging, or you'll lose more than papers. I read that message over and over again. Stop digging, or you'll lose more than papers. My hands felt numb. This was no longer about family arguments or hidden documents. This was a threat. A real one. For a moment, I just sat in my car, staring at the screen, listening to my heart beat so hard it felt like it might crack my ribs. Then I did something they did not expect. I saved the message. Because threats are evidence. When I got home, I locked every door and sat on the floor with my back against the wall. I felt alone in a way I never had before. Not because I had no one, but because the people who were supposed to protect me were now the ones trying to scare me into silence. That truth hurt more than the threat itself. I whispered to myself, they really think I'll give up. And that made me angry. The next day, the phone calls started. Friends asking strange questions. Relatives speaking carefully. Voices filled with doubt. Are you okay? People are worried about you. They say you've been acting strange. My family had begun their next move. If they couldn't control me quietly, they would destroy my credibility. They wanted to make me look unstable, confused, untrustworthy. I visited an old family friend. The moment I walked in, I felt it. She looked at me like I might break. They're concerned, she said gently. They say you're imagining things. I nodded slowly. Then I placed copies of the documents on her table. Her eyes widened. They lied, I said softly. To everyone. Including you. She didn't speak for a long time. Then she whispered, "Oh my God." That was the moment I realized something important. The truth was stronger than their story. 2 days later, they called a family meeting. They said it was because they loved me. I arrived to find them all seated like judges. Concern painted on their faces. My sister spoke first. "We think you need help." Help. That word felt like a knife. "You're stressed," my brother added. "You're seeing threats where there are none." I laughed bitterly. So now I imagine messages too? They exchanged looks. Gaslighting. Carefully planned. I stood up. "No," I said firmly. "I'm done being quiet." I pulled out my phone and read the threatening message aloud. The room went silent. Faces dropped. No one denied it. Because they couldn't. My aunt broke the silence. "Even if it's true," she said, "dragging this out will destroy the family." I looked at her. "You destroyed the family when you lied," I replied. That was the moment I stopped caring about peace. Because peace without truth is just silence. That night, I made a decision that changed everything. I would stop defending myself. I would go on the offensive. That night, I did not cry. I did not pray for peace. I did not ask anyone to understand me. Instead, I sat at my table with every document spread out in front of me and asked myself one simple question. What scares them the most? The answer came quietly. Exposure. For weeks, I had been reacting. Defending myself. Explaining. Trying to be heard. That ends when you realize something important. People who lie are not afraid of arguments. They are afraid of witnesses. If I stayed alone, they could keep calling me unstable. If I spoke only inside the family, they could twist the story. So I decided to change the battlefield. There was one person my family respected more than anything. Not love. Not loyalty. reputation. So I made a call I had been avoiding. To someone outside the family. Someone neutral. Someone who cared about facts, not feelings. When the call connected, my voice was calm. I need advice, I said. And I need protection. There was a pause. Then the voice said, "Tell me everything." And I did. I explained slowly. The hidden documents. The missing pages. The threats. The lies told behind my back. I sent copies of everything. When I finished, the person said something that made my stomach turn. "This isn't just family drama," they said. "This is deliberate. Deliberate. Planned. Calculated." That word stripped away every excuse I had ever made for them. 2 days later, something arrived. An official letter. It wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. But it was serious. It asked questions my family never wanted asked. And it did something even more powerful. It created a record. Once something is on record, it cannot be erased. The calls came almost immediately. My sister first. Her voice was tight. "Why are people asking questions?" "What people?" I asked calmly. "You know what I mean." "No," I replied. "I don't." She hung up. Then my brother. Then my aunt. Anger replaced concern. Fear replaced kindness. "You've gone too far," they said. "You're embarrassing us." I listened quietly. Then I said, "You embarrassed yourselves." When fear didn't work, they tried guilt. "We raised you. We sacrificed for you. We did what we thought was best." I let them speak. Then I asked one question. "Why didn't you tell me?" Silence. Because there was no answer that didn't expose them. They asked to meet again. Just us. No outsiders. No records. I agreed. Because I wanted to see their faces. This time, they didn't sit like judges. They sat like defendants. My brother spoke first. "We were afraid," he admitted. "Afraid of what?" I asked. "That you would take control." There it was. Not concern. Not protection. Control. I nodded slowly. "So you chose lies." No one denied it. "I trusted you," I said. "And you used that trust as a weapon." My sister cried. But her tears did not move me. Because tears without truth are manipulation. Before I left, I said one final thing. "I'm not stopping." Their faces drained of color. "You don't understand," my aunt said. "If this goes public." I interrupted her. "That's exactly the point." That night, my phone rang again. Unknown number. A voice message this time. Low. Angry. Desperate. "You think you're safe now," the voice said. "You have no idea what you just started." The voice message played in my head all night. "You think you're safe now. You have no idea what you just started." I did not delete it. I saved it. Because by then, I had learned something important. When people threaten you instead of telling the truth, it means you are winning. The next morning was too quiet. No calls. No messages. No sudden concern. That silence was not peace. It was planning. I went about my day carefully, my eyes open, my phone charged, my documents backed up in more than one place. Something was coming. I could feel it. It started small. A neighbor looked at me differently. An old friend didn't return my greeting. Someone I trusted avoided my eyes. By afternoon, I understood. The story had changed. And I was no longer the victim in it. By evening, I heard it clearly. She's unstable. She's accusing everyone. She's trying to destroy the family. They painted me as angry, dangerous, ungrateful. They told people I was obsessed with the past. They said I imagined threats. They said I needed help. And the worst part? Some people believed them. I walked into a small gathering that night, unaware of how bad it had become. The room went quiet. Someone whispered. Someone laughed nervously. A woman I had known for years pulled me aside. "We're worried about you," she said softly. "Maybe you should stop before this goes too far." I felt my chest tighten. "Stop telling the truth?" I asked. She looked away. That was her answer. Later that night, I heard the cruelest lie of all. They told people I was doing this for money, that I was greedy, that I wanted to take everything for myself. I sat alone in my car and cried for the first time since this began. Not because I was weak, but because I realized how far they were willing to go. They would destroy my name to protect their secret. I called my sister. She answered on the third ring. "Why are you telling people lies about me?" I asked. She sighed like she was tired. "We're just trying to protect ourselves," she said. "From me." That's what she meant. "So ruining my reputation is protection?" I asked. She didn't answer. That call changed something inside me. I stopped hoping they would come clean. I stopped wishing for apologies. I saw them clearly for the first time. And clarity is dangerous. Not everyone turned away. One person called me late that night. "I don't believe them," the voice said. "Something isn't right." I sent the documents, the messages, the proof. There was a long pause. Then the voice said, "They lied." That one sentence felt like oxygen. The next day, questions started spreading. Not accusations. Questions. And questions are harder to silence. Why were documents hidden? Why were threats sent? Why was I excluded from decisions about my own life? My family felt it. I could hear the panic in their voices again. That evening, I received a message from my brother. "We need to talk. Tonight." No warmth. No pretending. Just urgency. I replied with one word. "Fine." When I arrived, everyone was already there. Faces tense. Voices low. My sister looked at me and said, "If this comes out tomorrow, everything changes." She was right. When I walked into that room, the air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on my shoulders. Everyone was already seated. Not like a family. Like people waiting for a verdict. No one smiled. No one offered me a seat. I took one anyway. Because I was done asking for permission. My sister spoke first, her voice shaking. "If this comes out tomorrow," she said, "there's no going back." I looked around the room slowly. "That was your choice," I replied. "Not mine." My brother slammed his hand on the table. "You don't understand what you're about to expose." I tilted my head. "Then explain it," I said calmly. The room fell silent. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then my aunt whispered, "We never meant for you to find out." That was the truth. I leaned forward. "You hid documents. You lied. You threatened me. That's not the secret. That's the cover." Their faces drained of color. "So tell me," I said quietly, "what are you really afraid of?" My sister started to cry. Not the soft kind. The kind that comes when the truth is too heavy to carry anymore. "It wasn't just paperwork," she said. And then she said the words they had buried for years. "Everything was left to you." The room went silent. My father had left instructions. Clear ones. He trusted me. He believed I would be fair. He believed I would protect the family without controlling them. That terrified them. Because control was what they wanted. So when he died, they panicked. Instead of honoring his wishes, they rewrote the story. They told everyone I was fragile, unstable, unable to handle responsibility. They used that lie to justify taking everything out of my hands. My brother spoke next, his voice low. "If you had known, you could have taken everything." I stared at him. "You didn't even ask what I would have done," I said. He looked away. Because he knew the answer. I would have shared. They didn't fear greed. They feared fairness. Then came the part that hurt the most. They had promised my father something. That they would follow his wishes. They broke that promise the moment he was gone. And they lived comfortably with that lie. Until now. My aunt reached for my hand. Please, she said. We can fix this quietly. Quietly. The word tasted bitter. Quiet is how you hurt me, I replied. I'm not exposing this for revenge, I said. I'm exposing it because it's mine. They looked at me like strangers. Because they had never seen me like this. Calm. Certain. Unafraid. As I stood to leave, my phone buzzed. A new message. From someone I didn't expect. It read, I have the original copy. And tomorrow, everyone will see it. I read that message at least 10 times. I have the original copy. And tomorrow, everyone will see it. My hands were steady this time. Not because I wasn't scared. But because I finally understood something very important. The truth was no longer in my hands alone. And that terrified them more than anything else. I barely slept. Every sound outside made me sit up. Every vibration of my phone made my heart jump. I kept thinking about that original copy. The one document they believed was destroyed. The one proof that could not be explained away as confusion or emotion. If that came out, their entire story would fall apart. By morning, my phone was full of missed calls. I did not answer a single one. Around noon, my sister showed up at my door. She looked nothing like herself. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were red. Her confidence was gone. Please, she said the moment I opened the door. We need to talk. I stepped aside and let her in. Not because I wanted peace. But because I wanted to hear fear speak honestly. She sat on my couch, wringing her hands. We can fix this, she said quickly. We'll give you part of it. More than before. I raised an eyebrow. Part of what was already mine? She flinched. That document coming out will destroy us, she whispered. People will never look at us the same. I leaned back. That's how I felt when I learned my own family betrayed me. She started crying again. But this time, it sounded different. Not guilt. Panic. We'll apologize, she said. Publicly if we have to. I shook my head. An apology without truth is just another lie, I replied. She looked at me like she didn't recognize me. Because I was no longer the woman who stayed quiet to keep peace. An hour after she left, my brother came. He didn't knock. He stood outside like someone waiting for judgment. You're enjoying this, he accused. I looked at him calmly. No, I said. I survived it. That shut him up. He lowered his voice. If that document is real, he said, everything we said about you collapses. I nodded. That's why you lied in the first place. For the first time, he didn't argue. Later that evening, my phone rang. The same number from the message. I'm releasing it tomorrow morning, the voice said. But you should know something. What? I asked. They tried to stop me too. My stomach tightened. How? Money. Threats. Promises. And? I asked. The voice paused. I kept everything. By nightfall, rumors were already moving. Not the lies they controlled. New ones. Whispers about forged authority. Broken promises. Hidden instructions. The same people who once avoided my eyes were now asking questions. And questions have sharp edges. Then it came. A message sent to everyone. One last attempt at control. We did what we thought was right. We never meant harm. I stared at the screen. Then I typed one sentence. You meant silence. And I left the group. That night, I stood by my window, looking out into the dark. Tomorrow, everything would change. Not because I wanted revenge, but because lies cannot survive daylight. As I turned away, my phone buzzed again. A final message appeared on the screen. Once this goes live, there's no undoing it. Are you ready? I stared at the message for a long time. Once this goes live, there's no undoing it. Are you ready? For years, my answer would have been no. I was raised to keep peace, to protect family names, to swallow pain so others could stay comfortable. But that woman no longer existed. So I typed one word. Yes. The document went public the next morning. Not quietly. Not gently. It spread fast. Clear instructions. Original signatures. Dates that matched every lie. There was no confusion this time. No room to twist the story. The truth stood there in black and white. And it pointed straight at me. Phones started ringing immediately. Not with concern. Not with warnings. With apologies. People who avoided me now wanted explanations. People who believed the lies now wanted forgiveness. I didn't know. They told us something else. I'm so sorry. I listened calmly. Because the truth had already done the talking for me. By afternoon, my family was silent. No calls. No messages. No strength left to argue. Their power had lived in secrecy. Once exposed, it vanished. Later that day, my sister sent one final message. We never thought you'd do this. I replied honestly. I never thought you'd force me to. I didn't celebrate. I didn't insult them. I didn't seek revenge the way people expected. Instead, I did something stronger. I took control of what was always mine. I corrected records. I restored truth. I made decisions openly, fairly, the way my father trusted me to. Life became quieter after that. But it was a clean quiet. No whispers behind my back. No secrets pressing on my chest. Some relationships ended forever. Others healed slowly. And some truths never came with apologies. But I was free. Here is what this journey taught me. Sometimes the people closest to you will betray you, not because you are weak, but because they are afraid of your strength. They hid the truth from me because they thought I would never stand up. They were wrong. If you are watching this and you feel something deep inside, if you suspect you are being kept in the dark, if you are being told to stay quiet for peace, if your truth is being buried by people who claim to love you, listen to me. Silence only protects the liar. If this story moved you, subscribe to this channel for more powerful, real-life emotional stories like this. Like this video so others who need strength can find it. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story that speaks truth. And tell me in the comments, have you ever discovered a secret that changed everything? Because sometimes, the moment you find the truth is the moment you finally find yourself.